Hello boys and girls, welcome to this presentation. In this presentation, we're going to talk about Unit 7, Lesson 7, The Moving Desert. Question A. Read the article and answer these questions. Before we read the article, we have to know what are the questions. Number 1. What are the main causes of the moving desert? Number 2. What is the good news? Now, let's read the article and try to understand or answer these questions together. The article is about the moving desert. The moving desert. The moving desert is a danger from which many countries around the world suffer. The problem is caused by social, political, and economic or natural factors. Deserts which move or increase in size like this harm both the environment and the people who live there. Sandstorms, low rainfall, keeping too many animals, over-farming and tree cutting creates dry zones. Many fertile areas have disappeared. This problem damages all aspects of life and is a challenge to many people across the world. Especially in Africa, 90% of Libya is covered by desert, so the fertile areas in the north of the country, the Jabal Akhdar region near Benghazi, and the Jufra Plain on which Tripoli stands, are extremely important for agriculture and must be protected. However, recent satellite pictures show that the desert is still expanding. People in Libya are beginning to realize how serious the problem is, and the government is looking for solutions. Vegetation is very good for protecting the soil. Therefore, one solution is to use water piped from deep underground to create man-made oases. Another solution is to build highly efficient irrigation systems. These systems keep the soil wet but not too wet, so that not all the nutrients are washed away. They work by dripping water onto the soil slowly, rather than sprinkling it. Finally, a big factor is education. The National Plan for Agricultural Development is teaching people that every now and then farmland needs to be given a rest from animals and crops. That way the soil doesn't get too dry and turn into desert. Now we can answer the questions together. For number 1, what are the main causes for the moving desert? We can find them in the text. The main causes for the moving desert, as we said, are we have sandstorms, good, low rainfall, and keeping too many animals, over-farming and tree cutting. All of these create dry zones. Very good. And we will write number 1 here. Very good. Now let's look at question 2. What is the good news? What do you think the good news is? The good news is that the government knows that, and the government is trying to look for solutions. Very good. So we say the government is looking for solutions. Very good, from here. So as long as the government is looking for solutions, that's a good thing. They are aware of this problem. Now, let's move on to the next question. Question B. Now do exercises A to D on pages 84 and 85 of the workbook. Let's go and check the workbook. The workbook, Unit 7, Lesson 7, The Moving Desert. Question A. Find words in the article on page 90 of your coursebook that mean the same as the definitions. As we can see here, we have 8 definitions. We want the words that mean them. You can stop the video, answer these questions, and then come back and check. You can find these words in the article on page 90. Now, let's check. An area of land where nothing grows. What do you think it is? Very good. It's desert. Very good. Number 2, the scientific word for plants and trees. What do you think it is? Very good. Vegetation. Good job. Number 3, the industry that produces food. What do you think it is? Very good. Agriculture. Number 4, a system for watering the land. What do you think it is? Very good. Irrigation. Number 5, a difficult situation. What do you think it is? Good job. Challenge. Number 6, able to support crops. What do you think it is? Very good. Fertile. Number 7, a group of people who run a country. What do you think the answer is? A group of people who run a country. Very good. It's government. Good job. Now, the last one, an area within a country. What do you think it is? Good job. Region. Now, let's move on to the next question. Question B. Now write short answers to these questions. We have 4 questions. We're going to read them and write short answers from the article. You can stop the video, answer the questions, and then come back and check. Now let's check. List 3 causes of the moving desert. What do you think the causes are for the moving desert? As we said, the causes are sandstorms. Very good. We have sandstorms. We have low rainfall. And the last one is very good. Over farming. Good job. Now let's put the answer under the question so we can use it here. Yes. And then we will start with the second one. What happens to the land when the desert moves? We're going to put the answer here and then we will move on to the next question. Yes. Now number 2, what happens to the land when the desert moves? What happens to the land, do you think? Very good. What happens is it makes the land less what? Very good, less fertile. So when the desert moves, it makes the land less fertile. Number 3, where in Libya is the moving desert a problem? Where do you think it's a problem? Very good. Now, the fertile region or the fertile areas in the north near. We have Benghazi, near Benghazi, and yes, near Tripoli. Yes, good. So the fertile areas in the north near Benghazi and Tripoli. What are the best ways to stop the desert growing? List 3 ways. What do you think are the best ways to stop them from growing? Number 1. Very good. Number 1. Growing vegetation. Very good. Number 2. Building. Yes. We have to build what? Irrigation systems to keep the water wet. Very good. And the last one is educating people. Very good. Now, let's move on to the next question. Question C. Write the opposite of these words. We have 4 words, we need the opposite. You can stop the video, answer the questions, and then come back and check. Let's start with number 1. Agree. What's the opposite of agree? Very good. Disagree. Appear. What's the opposite? Good job. Disappear. Number 3, male. What's the opposite? Good job. Female. Number 4, adult. The opposite is good job. Child. Now let's move on to the next question. Question D. Complete the sentences with the words from the box. As you can see here, we have a box with 8 words. And we have 8 gaps. We have to fill the gaps with the words. You can stop the video, answer the question, and then come back and check. Now let's check. Let's start with number 1. Some African children are too poor to get any very good. Education. Education. Now, let's put a line on education. Now, number 2, if the ice caps, very good, melt, the sea level will, very good, rise. Now, let's put a line on melt and rise. So we know that we used them. Very good. Now, let's move on to number 3. Tigers are for their fur. What do you think the answer is? Very good. Hunted. Now let's put a line on hunted. And move on to next one. Number 4. Number 4, on the streets looks terrible. What looks terrible on the streets? Very good. Letter. Good job. Now, let's put a line on the word letter, so we don't use it again. Good job. Now, let's move on to number 5. Leaving all the lights on is very good. Very good. Wasteful. Now, let's put a line on the word wasteful. And move on to number 6. Number 6, are used to catch fish. What are they, nets or desert? Very good. Nets. So we use nets to catch fish. Good job. And the last one, the moving desert is harmful for the environment and people of Libya. Good job. Desert. Now let's put a line on the last words. And like that, we finished question D. Now let's move on to the next question. Question C. Discuss these questions. What do you think will happen if people don't do anything? These questions you can discuss them with your teacher and as a group. What do you think will happen if we don't do anything to help the desert? And what problems do you think there might be with the National Plan for Agricultural Development? And the last one, what other ways can you think of to protect the land from growing deserts? Now, let's talk about them one by one. For the first one, if people don't do anything, the fertile areas in the north of Libya might become desert, so we would not be able to grow any food. This would be terrible. Number two, a problem with the National Plan for Agricultural Development is that some people need to use their lands or farmland all the time to have enough food, or they need it for their animals. They don't have enough land to stop using it. So that's a problem for the agricultural development. And then the last one, we can stop cutting down trees. And we can also try to use the same land for different things each season. In that way, we can protect the land from growing deserts. And these are the things that you can discuss with your students. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.